does Pima County ever get fined for going over the ozone limit? Or can you kind of explain how that system works and if our ozone levels are getting worse?
Okay. Yes, it is a complex system. To answer your question, we haven't gotten fined, but what happens is the EPA, depending on, so we have standards. They're the National Ambient Air Quality Standards, or the NAAQS is the acronym. And those standards are what's considered to be the they're health-based standards. So for there's 6 different criteria pollutants, and one of them is ground level ozone. And we have some of them are a day standard, like a 24-hour standard, so a safe level for a 24-hour period. Some of them are annual standards, so over time, less of an exposure over time. But they're all based on the most recent research from EPA about what is a safe level and what isn't. The one that we are most concerned about here in Pima County is the 8-hour ozone standard. And it is a complex standard, so I'm not going to rattle it off to you. But we are very, very close every summer. Ground level ozone is a summertime problem because it's a chemical reaction. It's a secondary pollutant in that it's not being emitted directly from factories or cars. There's precursors coming from that then in the presence of sunlight form into ozone. So we are every summer, we worry about that because we have more intense sunlight, longer hours of daylight. So we have more issues with ground level ozone. And we are very, very close to exceeding that standard every summer, but we have not exceeded it. It's a 3-year average. So we really need to it's an 8-hour standard over a 3-year average. So if we were to exceed that standard at the same monitor 3 years in a row, then we would be what's called non-attainment. And when you're in non-attainment, this is like what they're dealing with in Maricopa County and have been for many years. Then there's more restrictions that come from the EPA. So there might be restrictions on transportation plans. There might be restrictions further restrictions on some of our permitted sources. We have a couple of hundred permitted sources that our department has. And so what's allowed to come from those sources might get reduced. And then over time, that there can be financial ramifications if you do not meet those standards. So that is something that Maricopa County is dealing with right now. And fortunately, Tucson is still in attainment for all of our criteria pollutants at this point in time, except for the PM10 non-attainment area that's in Rillito, the Rillito area. So we do have one small non-attainment area, but it's for particulate matter. It's not for ozone. So we keep our fingers crossed every summer. If you look at the curve of our numbers, basically over time, you will see that our values for ozone are getting better over time. So we used to have much higher values, and now over time they've gone down and kind of leveled off. And that's because processes are getting cleaner. Really, a lot of it has to do with motor vehicles, and as they get newer, they get cleaner. They have new technology that helps them be cleaner. And then as we get into more and more vehicles becoming like electric vehicles, we should be seeing even better improvements over time. So we're going to hope that we stay in attainment, and we're going to keep and so far this summer has been okay. We've not had any exceedances this summer. So we will hope for the best, but that's where we are right now. And then it is a much different place than Maricopa County, which deals with exceedances on a regular basis.
That is really interesting. So if you do have a day that exceeds, is there an action to be taken? How do you encourage less driving, or do you go to businesses, or is there an action plan, or you just hope it gets better?
We encourage people to sign up for the state department. The Arizona Department of Environmental Quality has forecasts. They do 5-day forecasts, and you can sign up for those. We have a link on our website, which is pima.gov/DEQ, and that'll tell you what they think will happen based on the weather patterns. So you can kind of they can try to predict it. Sometimes they're accurate, and sometimes they aren't. But overall, the general message is that we should really be trying to drive less. That's really what we can do as individuals. Sometimes that's easier for some people than others, but we recommend trying at least 1 day a week. So it doesn't have to be an all or nothing. It's like, what can you do even once a week that is helping to keep the air clean? That might be, maybe you choose to teleccommute 1 day a week. Well, you're not driving to work, so that's a great way to go. We now have a free transit system, so it's pretty straightforward and very cheap and free to get on that. So if you have the ability to get around on the bus, that we'd recommend that. Carpooling, combining errands. And then there's maintenance things that we recommend, like keeping your tires properly inflated and maintaining your vehicle. The other thing that people often aren't aware of is when they refuel. So we recommend refueling in the evening hours in the summertime. And that's because those precursor emissions, they're volatile organic compounds, the smell of gasoline, those compounds are contributing to the formation of ozone. So if you can actually fill up your vehicle later in the day, it has less chance to form into ozone because the sun is setting, and then you don't contribute through that source. So there's little things that people can do. In addition, electricity is generated in our region. Some of it is by solar and wind, and some of it is by the burning of natural gas. So that burning of natural gas is going to contribute to ozone formation. So any amount of electricity savings that you can do also contributes to helping that problem.
Wow, that fueling up tip is fantastic. I think you've given me like 3 different story ideas from this interview. So you really know your stuff. I so appreciate you. Anything else that you want to add? I think I have what I need.
Yeah, I think, I'm just always looking to get people to, use the app, sign up for that. We get the action days. We now have our ozone action days and, smoke and dust action days. So all of that is on our website, and as well as the forecasts. So if people go to the website and they want to get more information right into their inbox, that's going to be the best way to go, and be familiar with our website and what we have on there for information.